Well, wait, is there a fourth Bond film? Or no, Bourne film? Because there's Bourne. No, Bourne. What was the first one? Bourne Identity. Yeah. Bourne Supremacy.
Really?
Then Bourne Ultimatum.
I guess they're all okay.
And I think they're making a new one right now. Like Jason Bourne.
Or
I think it's called Jason Bourne.
Is it still Matt Damon?
Yeah, it's still Matt Damon. It's Tom Hanks now as Jason Bourne.
When Tom Hanks comes in.
I'd watch that movie. Tom Hanks as Jason Bourne. I like it. Are we live right now? I hope so.
Live. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome to Veiled Fate Q&A. This is my mic's not on.
Oh.
Yay!
Austin's mic's not on, so I'm going to talk now. This is live Q&A for Veiled Fate. We are Austin and Zach. Nope, Austin and Zach.
You got it,
this is Sam.
That's Sam. Hey.
He's running all the computers and the live streams today.
He's the true talent here.
He is the true talent.
Yep.
This would not be possible without him.
You still can't hear me because, well, you probably can hear me on Zach's mic. But
probably a little bit. Yeah, we've gotten so many great questions. We got questions on Instagram. We got questions on Facebook. We'll be taking questions live in the chat. We're talking about our new game, which is called Veiled Fate. Plays 2 to 8 players. It's a game of hidden influence.
It is. I don't know if you can hear me yet, but Zach's done a great job without me.
A little bit of, in case you're wondering, Moonrakers, our first game on the boat.
It's on the big boat.
We're so excited to get that to you. I mean, I have mine.
Wow,
but,
way to rub it in.
But we're excited to get it to you. It is very, I'm probably going to play around tonight. It's gonna be
Are
very
you?
fun.
That's
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Where
are our games?
They're almost to the Panama Canal.
That's very exciting.
I kind of want to go to the Panama Canal and watch the boat come through, but with COVID being what it is, probably won't do that.
No, probably not. I was talking about this on
IV
Games Weekly, which is a weekly show where we talk about board games, if you're not familiar. That I very...
you thought it was coming the other direction?
I thought they were coming the other direction, and this makes way more sense. I thought they were going to go down, from China, go around India, and then down to Africa, and then I'm like, why are they going through the Panama Canal? Like they're really
going the wrong way here.
The people driving this boat don't know what's going on. But it turns out they do. There's a much shorter route
from China to the United States.
Yeah.
The East Coast of the United States.
Thinking
that's why the Panama Canal is such a big deal, because you don't have to go around South America. Not Africa.
Geography.
That's why you guys are here, for geography. Let's jump into questions, shall we? Let's do it. All right, so we're going to lead into each question by talking about the person that asked it, really, their entire biography. I'm just kidding, just their username. And then we're going to ask the question, and then we'll answer it.
We were going to butcher some of these.
Well, some of these names are really, really hard. The first one is from Changalang. How do I do?
I think that's good. Changalang.
Right, cool. Changalang. There's a couple extra A's. Is this a lying game like coup or resistance? We like lying.
The answer is it depends.
That is the answer.
If you like lying. So you can play Veiled Fate without lying.
My wife hates lying games, mostly because she doesn't like it when I lie to her, for obvious reasons. We made this game to be a game that you can enjoy with lying or without lying. I lie all the time in the game.
Yeah, and this gets kind of the core of that, like what we're calling strategic deduction.
Yep.
Is you can use your gameplay to misdirect, and that's one of the things that we really love about it, is this ability to kind of lie with your actions, if you will.
Yes, it's definitely
but not
that.
just like straight up saying like, I am not Pentha.
The ability you have to lie to your friends is not necessarily important. It can help you, but it doesn't hurt you if you're a bad liar.
Totally.
Yeah.
But if that's your style and that's what you like to play, I kick off every game and I'm just like, I'm purple.
Yep.
And go.
Some games he's purple.
Never purple.
He likes purple.
I do.
All right.
Agamar looks pretty dope. So
he does look dope.
Question number 2. N Dorgan
04.
04. Are there asymmetrical powers, and how do these affect gameplay? Also, are you considering doing playtesting, on Tabletopia?
All right. So Zach doesn't know what Tabletopia is.
I totally do. I assume it's a utopia for tabletop games.
That's actually pretty close.
and we just play tabletop games all day, and robots take care of us. And,
Yeah.
like all of the
It's
economy
like,
is figured out.
What's the robot movie with the sad robot? WALL-E. There we go.
Yeah, it's like WALL-E.
But for board games.
But for board games.
That is not what it is. We are not currently doing Tabletopia. We don't have plans to do that. We're sticking with Tabletop Simulator for now.
Why?
You know, thanks for that. Basically, we spent a lot of time getting it into TTS.
Dorgan doesn't have the chance to ask follow-up questions. I am
true.
here representing the people.
You know, I have not played anything on Tabletopia. I like how I called Zach out for not knowing what it is, and then I haven't actually played anything on there. So maybe we should play a game on there and see if it'll hold up. I currently think there are mechanics in the game. There's a lot of moving of pieces. There's a lot of flipping of coins that I don't think would work as well in Tabletopia. But tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah. And then
asymmetrical powers.
Asymmetrical powers, no. There are no asymmetrical powers in Veil of Fate. We did test it. There were versions of the game that had it.
Yep. The initial game actually.
The game actually, at its current status, has a pretty significant mental load, and so and it's all about really getting to the core intentions, like what are your opponents actually doing and why are they doing it. And so we realized that with asymmetrical powers, and with the huge player count that this can play up to, it can play up to 8 players.
Yeah.
It became a little bit hard to like mentally track
everything.
Like, oh, you're doing that because you have this asymmetrical thing. Yep. So this game doesn't lend itself very well to asymmetry because of that. Because in order to suss out people's intentions, you would have to memorize all of the different asymmetrical powers to really understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Carrie.co2 asked, will the other players be able to see which demigod you're playing as / which little marker you're using? The answer is no. Which player you're trying to get to win, which character you're trying to get to win, is hidden, and it will be on one of these cards.
Yep. So at the beginning of the game, everyone gets a demigod card secretly. This is shuffled and dealt out. There are 9 different demigods that you may be associated with. So you, the player, play as a god.
Yep.
You have a demigod who is your offspring living on the earth, but no one knows about it and knows who they are. You are secretly trying to get them most renown, which at the end of 3 ages gives you your demigod the throne. That's kind of your goal. So part of it is masking your intentions and trying to get the most renown without people realizing who you are.
The way you do that is you can actually control any of the characters, not just your own. So that's why it's not something that matters if they see you moving a piece, because they don't know if that's your piece or not. Yeah.
So, and then to pair with that, your character will, you get a card that you keep that face down the whole game. You reveal it at the end of the game when the game is over. And these cards are associated with a demi. These are not the same, but
the bases will be colored.
The bases will be colored to match the color of your card.
Yep, totally.
All right. Next question.
The
Will Riley. What were your major artistic / literary / mythological influences for the game?
So we actually didn't pull from just one. It definitely is based on the mythologies of the world, but not really strongly with one mythology. We looked at a bunch of different ones, and then we kind of wrote our own mythology.
Yeah, essentially we looked at all the pantheons. There are tons from all over the world, and we really wanted to have a super diverse cast of heroes, and so we looked at literally anything that we could find to take inspiration from all of these different pantheons, like most obvious being Greek, but there are literally every ancient civilization for the most part has their own pantheon. So we looked at all of them, and all these characters you can see different references to different cultures and different ancient cultures.
Totally.
Next one, heir of Aragorn.
Ooh, my friend.
Wait, does Aragorn have an heir?
Yeah, Arwen has kids.
In Return of the King?
I mean, she has the it's post. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she has the dream with the sun. You remember?
Yeah. But is this canon, or is this just like in his imagination?
I think it's near canon if it's not canon, because she does have the premonition of having a son.
I see.
But I don't think that the son is born at the end of the Return of the King.
Got it.
Very important content.
What game would you compare it to as a frame of reference? That's a great question.
We get this question a lot, and it's a normal question. I ask that question all the time when I'm about to play a game. What is this game like?
Yeah.
Is it like another game? And neither of us, I'm going to speak for you, you can interrupt me, have played a game quite like it. We have had some playtesters say, oh, this is kind of like a game, and that there's two games that come up, and it's War of Whispers and The Name of the Rose, but there is always a major qualifier along with that. It's like it has some of this, but this is really different. Mm-hmm. I have not played either of those games. Have you?
No, I have not.
So maybe we need to play them and see.
No, we don't.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to play them?
No, so we do. We do. After we ship our games, then we can't say like we didn't steal anything.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we like to say that it combines two genres, strategy and social deduction, kind of picking elements that we like out of both of those. From social deduction, I mean, we like the Resistance and Secret Hitler and Tortuga.
Tortuga, one of my favorite games.
Tortuga's got there's some stuff in there
strategy too.
that is a bit similar, especially with kind of the ordering of things on quests. Like
that's true. Maybe we should put Tortuga in as a game it's kind of like, but it's not super like it.
And one of the things that I think is a nice comparison to Tortuga is there are many ways to play Tortuga from a social deduction standpoint. If you're not comfortable lying or like going really hard in on some bluffs, which can just be difficult for new players in general, I think you'll find Veiled Fate is really approachable in that sense, and offers a few different play styles. And then strategy games, it's hard to say. Like, I don't think it really riffs on too many specific things from strategy games, more of that like feeling of there are so many possibilities of what you can do on your turn, and so many ways that you can set up your opponents, not necessarily maliciously, but just like position yourself and the board for your success and other people's demise, and it really engages your brain in the way that strategy games kind of engage our brain.
Yeah. All right, Endorgan has another question. Endorgan04 has another question. How much player interaction is there? Is there an element of forced cooperation? I would say no. No for forced cooperation. There is a lot of player interaction.
Yes, tons of player interaction, not a lot of forced cooperation. I assume forced cooperation means like...
I mean, Moonrakers kind of has forced cooperation.
Yeah, because you must go on quests together. Yeah.
There are quests that are so hard that you can't really do them alone. You can do most quests alone at the end game, but anyway.
Yeah.
As far as like player interaction, there's a lot of player interaction as far as, I need to get other people to help me stop someone from ascending, but that sounds like a dog pile mechanic where there's not really that, because you don't know who any of these players are, and there's a lot of bluffing involved.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of player interaction of like trying to figure out who people are. When you finish a quest, you have to choose another player to add a vote card to a quest, and that's huge because you really want most quests to go one way or the other, and so you're trying to pick out people that might also want the quest to go the way that you want it to go.
Totally.
So there is definitely a lot of talking and a lot of like observation around the table. You have to pay attention to other people's turns, for sure. Yeah,
one of the other interesting things about the game is that in comparison to other social deduction games, is from players count 2 to 5, you are not on a team. You are solo. So you have a hidden identity, and you are trying to suss out who everyone else is, so you can kind of work the game towards their downfall, but then also keep yourself secret. But then from the 6 to 8 player genre, you have a secret teammate. So in that sense, there is that bit of cooperation in that, like, someone else out there is, they are the other parent of your demigod, and you are working together, but somehow you're secret parents. We don't know how
well,
that
they
happens.
can't both be parents, because then they wouldn't be demigods, they'd just be gods.
Oh, good point.
It's like uncle.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's probably,
Uncle or aunt. So we recently did a playtest where we were playing with 8, and the two of the players had played at 4 or 5 before, and I forgot to tell them there were teams at 8 until halfway through the game. So sorry, Wombat and Odin. But that was hilarious because they were like, "Oh wait, I have a teammate," and I was just like, "Oh gosh, I've done a terrible job."
Yeah. All right, Adam V. Freed. What are the primary mechanisms of play? How much take that is there, and is it avoidable? Third question, it's a trifecta. Will the cards fit standard size sleeves?
I'll take that one.
Yeah, go for it.
Mini or micro European, I can't remember, is the cards you'll be using the most. Then you have the standard 2.5 by 3.5 on these cards, not the quest cards, sorry. the demigod cards. And then those quest cards are standard, but they're a little rare. They're huge quest sleeves. I mean, look at the size of that card. Like I'll have to pick it up. This is a huge card, but it is a standard size. So you will be able to find sleeves for that. We will also offer sleeves as a part of the Kickstarter, probably in the Pledge Manager. You want to take away the primary mechanisms of play?
Yeah, primary mechanisms of play. I mean, there's a few, but voting is a big mechanism of play.
Hidden voting.
Hidden voting, yes. So that's kind of the quest cards is kind of that main mechanic that the game revolves around. There are slots where you're trying to, where on your turn you are slotting in different demigods on all these different slots. There are 2 different outcomes depending upon which way it is. You are able to vote for it to go one way or the other. You're trying to position your demigod for success while not letting clues kind of lead back to maybe who you are. So yeah, that kind of secret voting mechanic is probably the main one. And then the question B, how much take that is there and is it avoidable? I'm trying to think of like take that.
All right, so take that is like when you can target other players directly. I would say the only time there's take that is when you have been so obvious with your play that everyone knows what color you are. And that might not be a bad strategy, especially at the end of the game. You just have to make big moves to either get out even further ahead or to catch up. And so sometimes it's unavoidable, but I would say the only take that is when you are the player in the lead and you've had to reveal which player you are, which character you are in order to get that lead. People will work together to try to stop you, but there are ways to combat that. You can, like, I often try to boost 2 colors at the same time to the lead, and they know I'm one of them, but they're not sure which one.
Totally. Yeah, the game kind of has this nice, like, everybody's kind of, hiding, and then at some point there's a break, right? And you kind of have to decide when you're gonna like really push at the end for victory and when to kind of come out as like who you are. Yeah. But sometimes you might get found out early in the game, but that's happened to me many times during playthrough, and I've almost always been able to kind of overcome that and either just play through it aggressively and use an aggressive play style, or kind of really play hard as somebody else for a while, get people to kind of off your trail a little bit. It is definitely possible if you are found out early.
Oh yeah, because people will just assume you were bluffing, which is great.
All right, Shin Sin Ted. I don't know.
Shin Sin Ted
says, what were your major inspirations for the creation of this project?
This is an easy question for us.
Yes.
So Zach and I were actually driving back to the airport from our Dice Tower meeting where we played a live play of Moonrakers, which was so fun. We were talking about games we'd like to make and ideas we'd have for new games. And we talked about what if we made a game that had a similar feeling to a game that we played a lot in college or right after college, called Hidden in Plain Sight.
It's a video game.
It's a video game, short for, we call it Hips, which always makes me laugh because it's like, hey, Zach, you want to play Hips? Because that,
always
sounds
want to play Hips.
Yeah.
With Austin.
Anyway, and this game had this great mechanic. It had a bunch of mini games, but the main mechanic was you were hiding in a crowd. And you, a lot of times, had to figure out who you were because you were in a crowd and you just like started moving and your character would move. And then you also had to find out who other people were and stop them from accomplishing something. We played that for hours, and it was like, is that possible in a board game to have this feeling of hiding?
Yeah, and I think you'll find a lot of those those feelings baked into the game. I mean, not a lot of the mechanics are in there at all. There's a very difficult transition from a video game space to a board game space to like kind of capture that. I mean, the name of the game is wonderful, and I feel like we say it a lot. It's just that feeling of hiding in plain sight. And
they still have the game on Steam. I think you can play it on Steam.
It's on Steam. I think they just came out with a Switch version too.
What?
Yeah, or they're working on it. I really hope I'm not wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure there's a Switch version, which is perfect for it. I know he's been working on it. I followed up on his site recently, but
nice.
One of the reasons we love that so much is it's a great couch co-op game because it's just like, it's so dramatic and it has these like really high tense situations where it's just like, oh, I think that's them. I'm going to use my bullet to like kill them. And they're like, oh, no, I'm out of bullets. And then they just like take off for the victory. And so like, I think we've captured some of those big like high energy moments in this game. And I'm really proud of where we got to on that.
Idle Pants, which
Idle
is
Pants.
a funny name, wants to know merch store when. I just asked Sam about that because I didn't know.
Yeah,
and Sam said sometime next month. So we actually already have a merch store. It's
do?
just our game store, but
okay.
it's not really a merch store. Anyway, Moonrakers is available for pre-order on our website, which is moonrakersgame.com, I think. But that Shopify store will grow over the next couple of months to include other things.
Yeah, what would you like?
Yeah,
I mean, I want hats.
Comments.
I like hats. So maybe we'll make some hats.
You think we make custom glasses? Is that a thing?
What?
Agamar purple.
Oh, just like color? I don't know, like the shape of it is in like a shape of a, I don't know, a sword or
we'll
something?
Have like a wolf coming off on the side.
No, I would love that. And we have lots of ideas. We made a lot more art this time around, so maybe we'll do some prints.
Well, as far as the art in the game, Moonrakers had more pieces of individual art. We have more key art. We have more key this time around, feeling art. Yeah. All right. Three Little Meeples. What's up, dude? What is the optimal player count, and will it play differently at 3 to 4 players compared to the higher counts? Man, this is such a great softball question. Thank you for this. So the game plays 2 to 5 where you are alone. You have your demigod that you're trying to get to win. At 6 to 8, you are playing with 1 team member. And then at 7, there are 3 teams of 2 and 1 person who is alone. And that person gets an extra point at the end of the game. The fun part is you have no idea if you're the person who's alone. So you're looking for your teammate the whole time. I actually personally really I like being the 7th.
What's your favorite play count?
Ooh, this is a hard one. So I really like 5.
Yeah, I think I'm about 4.
It might be 4. Okay, so for a short game, if I just want to get a game in, 2 feels like chess. It is.
I haven't played 2 very many times.
It doesn't feel. It's not anything like chess, but like it is so strategic. You have to bluff.
Yep.
If you don't bluff, you're just going to lose. But I say that, and then if you don't bluff and they think you're bluffing, and you just keep giving that player that they thought you were bluffing as more points, you're almost uncatchable. It's really, really fun at 2 players, but it's a different feel to the game because once you get out in the lead, it's a little harder to lose that lead. Whereas at 3+ players, it's really easy to knock people down once you figure out who they are. So, yeah, I don't know. They're all fun.
Yeah, I think 4 is probably my favorite.
But I like 6 and 8 though.
Yeah, 6 and 8 are great. I don't know. I actually really like 7. So like
7's fun.
7. So it's that 6 to 8 play count, right? You have a partner.
Yeah.
7, obviously, you can't have a partner, and so there's 1 player without a partner.
Yeah.
You do not know if you do not have a partner or you do. And at the end of the game, if you everyone reveals their cards. Whoever does not have a partner gets 1 extra renown point at the very end of the game. And a lot of times that can make the difference. But everyone's kind of out there assuming I'm by myself. I don't have a partner.
Did a play test where the person that was alone was already in the lead at the end of the game, and everyone was like, "Well, we can give up now. This person's just way better than us because it wasn't me. It was someone else." The play tester. And it was super fun. All right, Pat Mac 53.
Yeah, what is the replayability going to look like? Question mark and examining emoji.
Replayability going to look like? I mean, I have played this game many, many times, and I'm still excited about.
That's always an interesting question to me because I think it can mean many different things. I think sometimes replayability can just be like, what are the amount of different scenarios that you might encounter? I think games that are like a little bit more social, like this game is. I think the replayability comes with the people that you are playing with, the different scenarios that you get into. It feels really fresh to me every time we play it.
The specific ways that the game is built to help replayability is the age and the city cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
that's definitely true.
You get a different set of age and city cards every time. To quickly explain what those are, city cards sit at the center of the board, and they give you bonuses when you move people back to the city, demigods back to the city. But then they also tend to change the rules in some way. So there might be something called a hex. The hex stops any players from using god powers. We'll have to talk about that because we haven't really yet. But there is one that once you move all the demis of the same class back to the city, if they're all there at the same time, they all get a victory point. So there's lots of ways that the city cards change each round. And right now I think we have like 12 city cards. I think we'll probably launch with like 15. And then age cards are unique too. You have 3 ages in the game, the rounds. At the end of each age round, you have a global vote on a card. And sometimes being the first player helps in this. You might get to choose a demigod or 3 demigods, and then everyone else votes to either give them or take away renown or victory points from them. But you're getting a different age card each round, and then each age has 5 different options in the end game for what you might get. So a lot of replayability in what cards you'll get.
So yeah, and even more simply, it's basically like those are the rule changers for each age, and there's 3 ages, and they combine together in different ways. And some of them are a bit more vanilla, and some of them really change the rules of the game. So there's a lot of that. The other thing I will say towards replayability is like I think is a surprising depth of strategy. And I really realized that one time when I was playing around with one of our, I think it might have been Chimblade on Discord.
Yeah.
One of our regular playtesters who's played many more games than me, and he pulled off a move that was just like, he felt like he was playing 3D chess and I was playing 2D chess, and it unlocked like new ideas for ways to play and ways to set people up and ways to create interesting choices.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of depth of strategy that makes it replayable, but then also with the City and Age cards, I think there's rule variants in different games that make it really replayable. And we're still working on those. So if you'd like to come and talk about that and come up with new ideas with us, that's something we're going to be working on right up until we print the final version.
Yeah, join the Discord for that. That's how we do that kind of content change. So Tyler the Goodman asked, which game is Veiled Fate most similar to? That's kind of hard because we just talked about that.
A little bit,
so like we said, it's kind of hard to compare it to one. We talked about War of Whispers, we talked about Tortuga, we talked about The Name of the Rose. I don't think any of them are perfect comparisons, and most games don't have a perfect comparison. But we'll move on because we got already.
Shane with 6 A's, 88. What are the types of gods / demigods that we can play as, and does playing as different ones affect strategy at all?
So the players themselves, when they play, are gods, but you are just, like, that doesn't affect gameplay at all. You are just playing as gods. The demigods that you get are random, and they don't really affect the strategy at all. So it's nothing really asymmetric there.
No, yeah, and we talked a little bit about asymmetry earlier and why that kind of doesn't work within the context of this game. There are 3 different classes of demigods. The way that works is basically there's strength, agility, and
intellect. You nailed it. Nice.
And those are just represented by icons, and some quests have different specifications of which type of demigod can go on them. So that's really the only difference between the demigods.
All right. Tijo Janes? Tijo Haynes?
Yeah.
Tijo Janes asked, what is the predicted average game length? All right, so 1 to 2 hours is what will be printed on the box. If you're playing for the first time with the max player count, probably going a little over 2 hours. If you're playing for your 50th time with 2 to 3 players, probably going down more into that 45-minute range. Mm-hmm. But that's about what I would say is average. We should probably speed up on some of these simple ones.
Yeah, display of cliche. I like games that aren't over 60 minutes of gameplay, depending upon the number of players. How long does it run? Have you found a player count sweet spot?
These questions are great right next to each other.
Yeah.
If you really like under 60-minute games, once you play a few games with the lower player count, I would say you can get right about 60 minutes with 4 players if they all know how to play, but most of our play tests go a little bit longer than that. Yeah. So may not be your sweet spot, but hopefully you'll think it's worth putting in 15 extra minutes per game.
Pseudo Heartless Mactivish. Not a question, a statement. I love it. I need the art. Heart emoji.
Heart emoji with the sparkles.
Heart emoji back.
Yep. Le Puss Puss.
Who is the artist for the cards? Do they have an IG?
They do.
They do. We got Harry Conway, and we have doing the illustrations. So Harry took on the hero illustrations and the board illustrations, and then we have All Right Studio in Brooklyn. A great team over there doing the graphic design, and then the art and creative direction is led by our team here at IV, which includes many of us.
His IG is Harry Conway Art? Harry Conway.
I don't know. We link it
often
in our Instagram.
If you search it on Instagram, that should be what comes up.
Yeah, and I think allright.studio is that, and then iv.animation and IV games. Play IV games.
Play IV games.
So there are many IGs to follow.
Yep.
Duhilite?
Elite.
Elite. Nice. Are all these drawings random figments of your imagination or something that have significant meaning to you? Also, do you claim to be a warrior yourself? If so, out of all the characters, who do you relate to the most?
So personally, I relate the most to Agamar because of our comparable size.
Oh, he is huge.
Yeah, I'm huge.
Look at that. That's Austin.
It's the same. I'm not a warrior, especially not because I've had 3 knee surgeries. All right, so the drawings, random figments of your imagination. So random figments, the characters are based on lots of research of just like different cultures and different mythologies, some more than others, but yeah, so not really random figments of our imagination, but so they have meaning, some of them have meanings to the cultures that we pulled from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got meanings from the cultures that we pulled from and the pantheons that we did research into different ancient cultures. Then the other thing that went into them was also their class. We tried to, if you were to look at the images, kind of be able to tell like, oh, that's a strength hero, that's an agility hero, that's intellect. And so those are kind of the big things coming in. And then also like we really launched off of Harry's style, and we tried to push things that we knew were going to really work well in his illustration style. My hero is Isabel, because my daughter's named Isabella, and
she's a skull-faced, creepy lady.
Into skulls and creepy stuff.
All right, Too Tall Porter, what's up, dude? Hello. Will you be doing a comic to expand the backstory for this game as well? It's one of the things I'm looking forward to getting with Moonrakers. Super excited that you're looking forward to that. I love that about Moonrakers. We are doing really cool things with the story for Veiled Fate, but we are not doing a comic book.
We're gonna have a video like we did with the Moonrakers to kind of kick off the Kickstarter. We have other secret plans for lore that will be launching soon. It is not a comic book, but it is something that should be a lot of fun. So more on that soon. Kellen Pocock, what is Veiled Fate?
No. What is Veiled Fated?
What is Veiled Fated? Ooh.
Is that the same question, or did they intend to put the D? Was it an accident?
Veiled Fated is the follow-up to Veiled Fate.
Oh,
you have been Veiled Fated.
Too failed, too fated.
Veiled Fate is a game of hidden influence for 2 to 8 players.
Excellent answer. Let's move on. Nathan Graham. A bit meta, but what is the overall strategy behind your launch? What advice do you have for other people trying to stick out among thousands of fundraisers regardless of the product/quality?
That is a big question.
That is a hard question too, because regardless of the product cost quality. So it's just like all things being equal, how do you stand out?
Instagram ads. Next question. No, I'm just kidding.
So bit meta, overall strategy behind your launch. Some of the things we learned from Moonrakers, and one of the biggest things I would say is that having an excited audience before your launch matters more than how well you're able to talk about your game during the Kickstarter
Some people
campaign.
disagree with us, but that's kind of the philosophy that we subscribe to.
Like we want to have a lot of people excited and looking forward to it, and being the early adopters going into the launch.
Yeah. Another thing is, I mean, it's really difficult to do, but one of our philosophies is like art. It really does matter, and we want to. Make art and work with artists that we would just want to buy their stuff anyways. Like it's a lot of people in the door, and that's a very specific and small group of people. But with Alex and Lunar Saloon for Moonrakers, and then the whole art team on Veiled Fate, like I think that is something I would just want to buy and just have in my home, or buy an art book of or something like that. So that's the quality that we're trying to hit there, which is it takes a lot of work, and then.
But regardless of quality.
But that's fair. That is part of the question.
It's hard. It's a hard.
It is hard.
Because I mean, a part of how you stand out is the product.
Yeah, I think part of it is building that community. Yeah. We love the people that we get to talk and hang out with on the internet and Discord and things like that. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. And then I don't know, doing lots of play tests, working really hard on our social media. Make sure we got interesting stuff to share with you all. And we've got some other stuff coming up that is secret sauce.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll
bring
more people in.
So with regardless to product and quality, this is a little bit of that because it has to be good in order for this to work. But getting reviews, really previews done of your game before launching, having established and well-respected people play your game and say there are cool things about this really, really matters. Yeah. Especially if it's your first game. So definitely look into getting Dice Tower. Dice Tower has a great Mark Street, who's on our show a few times, has been on stuff with us a bunch.
Yeah.
We love him. He does a really good job of previewing games. Definitely reach out to Dice Tower for that. But there's tons of other ones too.
David Nietzsche says, how long does an average game take? Probably average is hour and a half.
Yeah,
90 minutes.
I was hoping
80
we'd
minutes.
get it down to an hour and 15, but with the larger player counts, it does probably average out to an hour and a half.
Mystic Nymph. What cultures influenced the designs of the demigod characters?
All right,
You gonna go through them?
real quick.
All right, great.
I think I can do it pretty fast. Can you hear me happening there?
Sure.
All right, so Isabel is actually South American, like kind of like tribal, like almost like Aztecian a little bit, but with the skulls
A
there.
little bit of Day of the Dead kind of
Yep.
vibes as well too.
Yep. Apony is Native American, probably one of the more obvious ones. Agamar is a little bit of, I always say this wrong, Celtic influences.
With his helmet. And
Yep, with his helmet.
big sword.
That comes from the antler helmet is really popular in that. Bellin is going to be more from your Asia Chinese influences. Klar is going to be Polynesian influences. Sagara is going to be Indian influences. 2 Bellins, 2 Agamars. Whoops, I didn't realize we had 2 sets
Yeah,
here.
there's a lot in there.
Klar, did I already say Polynesian?
Yep.
Whoops.
Maybe, I don't know.
Naka is going to be from
Africa.
Africa. And then Namari is going to be Middle East. And then Pentha is going to be more Scandinavian. Go Skull. And that's it. I think that was all of them.
All right. Let's see, release date from L. Jansen 20. Kickstarter goes live on October 15th.
It does.
Shipping will be announced. We'll have estimated ship timelines
At launch.
around then.
Yep.
We got AAHHHH. Great username. I wonder, you have to type in the exact amount of H's for that one? I don't know.
That would really suck.
How did you decide which regions to include in the game, and how did you let them influence the gameplay mechanics to create an immersive, cohesive world? Thanks.
They don't.
You're welcome.
They don't influence the gameplay mechanics.
So no, they do not influence the game mechanics. In general, we basically, the reason why there are actually just different ones in general are.
I guess they do influence it in that sense, and that like there are cards that affect certain regions.
Oh, yeah,
and so you have to
definitely.
be able to distinguish them based on their artwork.
Totally,
quickly.
but there's not like a fire card that comes up only in the volcano or something like that. Ultimately, the regions were designed because we wanted to evoke the feeling of sending demigods on worldwide quests that you're really manipulating the actions of an entire world. So we really wanted that to feel immersive.
We wanted the scale to be big.
Yes, and it's a
And
big
it's
board.
a big old board.
It looks great.
Because you are gods affecting the fate of man, and it just man and women, man in the
Yeah, mankind.
sense.
The
Man and women. I'm a genius.
The other part of that too is we wanted them to be distinct enough so anyone on the board, even without reading anything, can be like, oh, like over in the forests or over in the mountains. So we wanted them to be visually distinctive, so that way just like table talk was a lot easier.
Yep.
M. Yisha.
Nice. That was good.
I've never been into board games, but this looks cool as, I don't know if this is a swearing.
No, skip it.
Swearing live stream. Where did your inspirations/concepts come from? By the way, the characters look so well done. I would definitely support a show for this.
Ooh.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah. Get behind
That'd be
them,
great.
Satan.
Thank you very much. We've talked a little bit about inspirations and concepts.
From the mythologies and from different regions. And thanks so much, Amisha. Yisha? I'm really excited that you're interested in it, not being into board games.
Yeah, I think it is very approachable.
I think it is.
For someone who isn't into board games, but has a lot of depth that'll keep you coming back.
Yeah, definitely trying to learn from our videos versus from the rulebook for your first board game, just because it's going to be way easier to learn from videos for you.
And we'll have some full playthrough videos and stuff as well as how to play videos. So those are coming. Rubus 625. Are there nations, tribes, factions in the Veiled Fate world that inform the player what they're playing for?
Can I take this?
Yeah.
All right, so in our lore, without giving away too much, the city at the center of the board is kind of a utopian meeting of the world. It's a place that the big daddy god made to have a smashing of cultures. So it's almost like a Tower of Babel. All right.
We're back already. That was quick.
I was getting a drink.
All right.
Sorry, y'all. Technical fun. All right.
Do you want to pick up the end of that answer?
I was talking about the city and how you are playing to rule that city. And that really is the capital of the world. So in the sense that you are ruling man/womankind.
Yes. Okay. Oh, that was the one we were just on. Stay classy, Daniel.
Nice, Daniel.
Do you think that they are just like...
I think they
really don't like their friend Daniel and they're telling him to stay classy? Or are they telling themselves?
No. They definitely have a best friend named Daniel and they're like, this guy is not classy.
I like that. How much do y'all think you'll sell this game for? How much are we going to sell this game for, Austin?
So we have not gotten the final cost from our manufacturer yet. So it is hard to tell you now what we will sell the game for. When the Kickstarter's out, that'll be very easy to do. It will be for more than $25 and less than $300.
Oh, wow, that's a range.
Sorry.
Probably closer to the lower end of that. I can't imagine.
Well, not 25.
Yeah, it won't be $25.
No.
It will not be $300.
It will most likely be in the $50 to $100 range.
Yeah.
Is what if I had to guess right now, if the minis that we're making make it get really expensive past that, we'll talk about it then, but there are going to be multiple versions of the game. There will be a more cost-effective version, not cost-effective, cost-friendly.
Buyer? I don't know.
You know what I mean. Cheaper version, and a more expensive, more tricked-out version.
Christian HF, can you foresee a tablet version coming to devices?
You're answering this one, I don't.
There is none planned currently. Would love to do digital versions of our games someday, but part of the tricky aspect of bringing our tabletop games so far to mobile or any kind of digital experiences, they do really lean a lot on that player in-person interaction, and that's just really hard to replicate in a digital space. Difficult, not impossible.
Veiled Fate is slightly easier than Moonrakers for me. Shrekspansion pack from Cartoonographer. We don't know who that is.
Who might that be?
Who could that be?
Our wonderful coworkers. Hello, Nate. I wonder if you're
I
watching.
Personally would hate a Shrekspansion pack. Shrekspansion pack. I don't want that.
I could see how it works. There's a kingdom. You know, like all the
Lord
different...
Farquaad is one of the characters.
Yeah,
but who are we?
I don't know.
Doesn't work.
With the gods, are there gods in Shrek? Is there a pantheon in Shrek?
Is the purple character the dragon, and is the black one the donkey?
I think that there is. There's some kind of spiritual realm in the world of Shrek.
Is there?
I
have not seen Shrek
there's
recently
magic.
at all.
I feel like there's got to be some kind of like
higher power.
Underverse
all right, let's skip past that. Toadette Enthusiast. Do you plan to create additional add-on/expansion type content for the game in the future? And if so, what might that look like? I would say yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
We've had ideas.
Yeah, all of our games so far we are looking at with the potential to let's keep them going, especially if they're really well received and you all like it and want more. We would love to give you more. So
yeah, as far as what it might look like, I think we would want to change gameplay in some way. Like not just a small expansion. For Moonrakers, we have micro expansions, which are just more cards, but it doesn't change that much. But for an actual expansion, it would have to be some added element of gameplay.
Much of developing these games is our team just kind of whittling down from a ton of different ideas and like trying to find that core that is super fun. But we've, in the process of doing that, of course, you have so many different mechanics that just didn't end up getting used. And so we've got a lot of things where we're just talking like, that'll be an expansion.
Yep.
So
It happens. Graham Coleman 16. What is the goal of the game and how long is one complete playthrough? The goal of the game is to have your demigod have the most renown at the end of the game, which makes you win, which is how Zach talks at the beginning of every explanation of any game is the goal of the game is to win, and to win you do this. So one complete playthrough, it ranges from about an hour to 2 hours. It's going to be on the higher end of that for your early playthroughs and move down from there. Go ahead.
Underscore blow?
I think it is blow. It's spelled blux, but it's French, I believe.
I don't know.
It's definitely blow.
Is it anything like Settlers of Catan, or is it more RPG? I love RPGs.
Me too, blow.
I like RPGs too.
Yeah.
It is not really like Catan or RPGs though.
Neither.
Although I guess you could play in character as a god.
You could LARP it.
There's really not really much to go on, but you could do it.
No, you'd have to fill in a lot of blanks.
No, it is very much a different genre than Settlers of Catan. It's a great game though.
Keyban, how was the experience you gained creating your last game helped/gave different perspectives on the creation of this game? Oh my goodness, so much. So much. Well, to start, Moonrakers took twice as long, maybe even longer, to develop, as far as like getting a working game done.
I think one of the things that's helped is just like, I think with any act of creation is just confidence. Like and that audience feedback. Like we've got just like a wonderful community that like I feel personally very indebted to, and like they've given us so much great feedback on this game. So that's been like the huge
Moonrakers was a
difference.
Vacuum.
Yeah, and we just like, I don't know, doing something your second time is just infinitely easier than your first time. It's still really difficult, but you know, we do our best to learn from our mistakes, and you know, just keep trying to make great games. And yeah, we've learned a ton from Moonrakers.
Isaac Lazarowski. Zach Lazarowski.
I don't know.
What are the most exciting moments in Veiled Fate? Dramatic upsets, game-changing obstacles, etc. All right. For me, it's the big reveals. So there is going to be a quest, and that quest, the outcome of it will either be feathers or scorpions, and there's cards in a vote pile that people have put there. The reveal of, is this going to go one way or the other, drastically changes the score of the game, and often you're not sure which way it's going to go, even if you're one of the people that put a lot of the cards in there.
Yeah.
And so those reveals are really big. Also, the reveals at the end of the game when you find out who's everyone's character are.
Yep.
Because I'm so often so positive Zach is a color, and then we reveal and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I have that wrong?
I'm really great at bluffing.
Yeah.
Not so great at winning games.
He usually doesn't win, but I usually have no idea who he is.
You know, there's different forms of winning. Fooling Austin, that is one. No, I mean, this is a great question because like we really designed this game around having exciting moments.
Yes.
And so we've got that, like, you know, once every few minutes you have these big reveals, big dramatic reveals of the quests and the results of those quests that give you new data points on who everyone around the table might be. So those are those great exciting moments, and like you said, it all leads up to that one. That big either reveal at the end of the game, or that moment when somebody really flips the switch on and they're like, all right, I'm Agamar and I'm going for it now.
Yep. At the end of every game is the last age card. And I think 90% of games, that age card reveals the winner.
Yep.
Which is big because that means there's not that many runaway games. There's some runaway games.
Totally.
But usually in the runaway games, I'm not like, oh, this game's broken. I'm like, man, I played that super wrong and I gave them the lead. Like, if Zach was purple, maybe I bluffed purple for the whole beginning of the game, and it turns out I was helping Zach get the lead. And so that's a big danger. Anyway, moving on.
We've got Heinz I-747, like ketchup and traveling.
Yeah.
Does the game have a competitive focus, or is it meant to be a relaxing time with friends? Perhaps both.
So it depends on your personality.
Yeah.
I personally think it's both. Like, I really enjoy playing it. There is tension that I would say it is not like watching your favorite movie. It is not relaxing in the sense that it feels like easy, because there is a lot of like what's going to happen. But that doesn't mean it's not fun and relaxing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say it like I think it really engages your brain. I think there's just like a ton to think about, a ton to kind of suss out of like your own moves and how you might play. So it's really engaging that way, and I think it's really engaging in a social sense. I think there's a ton of table talk, which is really fun. And in that sense, it feels a bit more casual because of that like table talk element. You know, you're not just all sitting there in silence playing a game. So I don't know. I think it really depends upon your personality, but you know, it's not. I wouldn't.
It's both.
It's both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Landing golds. How's gameplay different when moving from 2 to 8 players? We talked about this a little bit, but just to recap, 2 feels a lot more strategic, and you really have to stop the person from getting in the lead. 8, you have 6 to 8, you have teams of 2, unless 7, there's one person that's not on that team. But basically, it does feel different, but you're always playing the same game. And I'm really happy and excited about that. Like, there's not tons of rule changes between the 2 to 8 player counts. It does feel a little bit different, but not in the sense of I have to relearn the game.
Jacob Speth, is it normal to announce a second game before the official launch of your first? Good question. What were some factors in that decision aside from having another badass game idea?
Can I take this one?
Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Can I take this one?
No.
Okay, you do it then.
No, I don't want to do it.
So Moonrakers was supposed to deliver in July, and then we were supposed to announce our second game, and then we were going to go into heavy marketing.
Yep.
Unfortunately, COVID happened, and it pushed back timelines on manufacturing, but we didn't want to push Veiled Fate into Christmas, because that's a bad time to launch a game that's not going to deliver for a while, right? So for us, we couldn't push Veiled Fate any more than we already had. Veiled Fate was supposed to launch in September, but it is launching in October. And so that is the reason I would say it's not a good idea. We will not launch Veiled Fate until Moonrakers delivers. Moonrakers does deliver before Veiled Fate officially launches.
Yes.
What? Okay, so if there's, I'm getting Sam telling me don't say that, because if there is another hurricane and our boat sinks or something, or it's super late, that we will launch on October 15th. But without some catastrophic event, Moonrakers is scheduled to deliver before Veiled Fate launches.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Sorry.
And I think like another, to just kind of like a little bit of thought process as well, is like once people actually get our game of Moonrakers, now will be a great time to be like, oh, and we're working on something else, and you can also get that. And it also might be a great gateway to kind of also get more people interested in Moonrakers, as we're going to start having actual copies to be able to get in your hands. So
is it Aerobabob? Aerobabob? Yeah, okay. How do you feel about making your own statement / universe in an already flooded fantasy tabletop gaming market? Where was the line drawn for how far you wanted to deviate for yourself from the already established games / universes? Also, just wanted to say the world and character art look absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I would say I think we went a different direction as far as art goes in the fantasy genre. I think that's something that we've always wanted to try and maybe take a little bit of a different direction. So I don't know. I'm really stoked with what our whole art team came up with, and I think that I don't know. I think there is like almost a bit of a style of art in the fantasy genre as a whole, and it's fun to kind of stand against that, or just like try something new.
Yeah, try something new.
And yeah, that was kind of our goal going into that. And we also knew that we wanted to just kind of create our own world that felt uniquely Veiled Fate. So that was one of our goals. I mean, you all can tell us if we were successful, but I don't know. I thought it was a fun challenge. It's a fun genre to play with some of those things that come up all the time. Those almost like cliches of the genre, because it's so well established, and like put our little twist on it.
From their question, they said, where was the line drawn for how far you wanted to deviate? We actually had some contention sounds way more intense than it was.
We thought.
In the office about how far. I thought we were going too far from established designs for board games. And I was wrong, I think. I think Zach obviously was right. Zach's the creative director of our studio. So I was never going to win that argument, but I had voiced the opinion. But yeah, I think obviously that Zach made the right call and deviating pretty far from standard art. Double Mickey, are the plants in your studio real?
Yeah. No, they're not real.
No.
They would not last.
Live. We would forget to water them.
At all.
Yep. Then 31. Hi, I love your work and company. Do you think it is possible to create a company like yours just based on the business of board games?
Oh, is it possible?
Yes.
Sure. Moonrakers did require quite a bit of upfront investment, just
Time
as
and
far
money.
as paying artists and having our own time to invest in that, and that kind of came from our animation business that is concurrent. So like they kind of support each other, so we have that, but it is a great market. Like there are just a lot of people who are really invested in new tabletop games, and it's really exciting to kind of be a part of that. So
and there are companies that started off with just a board game and have grown it to many board games that are well more established than we are in this market and have amazing games and amazing art. So it's definitely possible. I don't think if you were starting off alone with not a ton of money and not a lot of experience, I don't think your first game is going to be as far as long as Moonrakers was, only because we had the support of the other studio. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you can't get that support from somewhere else.
Sure, and also that there are those flukes, but I would also just say, like, you know, if you're starting with nothing, just start small and build from there. And I think it's a great time to be making board games.
It really is. So yeah, please make more board games. We want more people to make board games.
Liam Sklar says, if there was a combo of other board games that summed up this one, what would they be?
All right, so we talked about Tortuga, The Name of the Rose, right? I think is the one that one's called, and War of Whispers. I don't necessarily think it's very similar to those, though.
Yeah, we got to get a good strategy game that like is like a good.
Well, maybe we'll just make another game that's like Veiled Fate, and then when people ask us what that game's like, we'll say it's like Veiled Fate.
There it is. All right, N Dorgan 04, cost of game and favorite parts.
Coin.
The coin. Is that your favorite?
I think
favorite
it will
part?
be.
I think the first player token. I don't have it. Oh, it is right there. Yes. This was sculpted by Max Anderson, our technical director and co-designer. And
co-host of Ivy
And co-host
Games.
of Ivy Weekly.
Ivy Weekly.
This is just like a prototype printed on our 3D printer. I don't know, it's just fun. It's the logo of the game. The logo was designed by All Right Studio. It's got the feather on one side, the scorpion on the other. I love the way it turned out. And it's big. I printed one that was even bigger. It was way too big. Our box would just have to have been huge just to fit the first player token. So yeah, that's my favorite part. Johnny Nine Fingers from the Discord, and I guess he exists other places.
Probably other places.
Probably. I've never seen him other places. So he might just only exist on the Discord. I don't know. What inspired the idea for different classes? That was a unique idea that I wouldn't have thought would have contributed to the game in the great way that it does.
This actually comes from an early prototype. We had a prototype that was more focused on an RPG style game of just how the characters had stats. They had like intellect stats, agility stats, strength stats, and so the classes were strong in that stat.
Yeah.
And it carried over because we had cards that referenced those. We had like age and city cards that referenced those classes. And so we kept it in the game even though it didn't necessarily have the same meaning it did when we added it in there.
Yeah.
But I think really adds to it. And then it also impacted our art direction, which was really fun. So I'm glad we did that.
Definitely. It's like, this is a very random tangent, but we're getting to the end of our list. So like, it reminds me a little bit of, I was listening to an interview with Hans Zimmer, and he was talking about, it might have been the score for Inception or something like that, and he had like made this like super long track, and it was like interesting, but like the director decided it wasn't right, and he just like scrapped it. But instead of just scrapping it entirely, he mixed it down and distorted it and squashed it, and then that just became like this like ambient noise bed that was just like super interesting. And I feel like all of our games end up doing that. We make this like this really elaborate thing, and then we just kind of trash it because it's trash. And then but you like take these like little parts that were like maybe a feature of that, and then that becomes the foundation for your next iteration.
Moonrakers.
Moonrakers did that, Veiled Fate did that, but those classes came from an early iteration of the game where really that was like one of our first mechanics. It was like they're gonna have different classes, and it was like way more robust than that. They had like not only did they have classes, they had like attack power and like all kinds of different differentiations. And so that really just became this, we whittled it down to this like core concept of like, there's just 3 classes.
Yeah, it's funny that we started with such asymmetry and we ended up with not very much asymmetry.
Yeah,
and still
it just didn't work.
It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't fit the feeling that we were going for. All right, Alex Dezerwanas. Wow, can you do that one?
Nope.
All right, cool. Alex, will you have replacement minis? So if your game delivers and there is a miniature broken, we will this is talking about a game that hasn't even gone into production yet, but in games in general, we have avenues for replacing parts that are not what they should be at delivery. Let's say you painted one really poorly and you hate it and you want to get a new one, or you break one. There are ways to buy it. The minis themselves will be an add-on that is an addition to the game, most likely. We haven't completely decided on that, but it will mostly come in as its own add-on. In that case, you would be able to buy more minis so that you can replace your terribly painted one.
Human affection?
Affectation.
I
You
read
always
it
do
as
that.
human affection.
Yeah.
I assume that he has affection.
He's
for
an
me,
affectionate person.
because he is a
He
human.
has great dogs, let me tell you. They are the
Human
cutest.
affectation, one of our key play testers.
He's definitely going to be in the rulebook as key play tester, yes.
Sorry, form of a question. Is purple the best color? There is only one acceptable answer, and that answer is yes.
And Zach completely agrees. They both agree that that color is purple.
Yeah, we always have to race to get the purple seat
It's really
on
funny.
Tabletop
Yep.
Simulator.
I have 3 or 4 people that try to be the first in Tabletop Simulator after I start the lobby so that they can grab purple.
Also, Skull Vikings.
Yeah.
That's a
Yep.
shout out to my fellow Vikings fans out there, of which
He'll
there
get that,
must
that's
be
for sure.
many.
It's funny, they're currently saying in the chat that they can't wait to be my partner on Veiled Fate because I'm always Kung Fu Quickness's partner for some reason. We cannot figure out why, but we sit at different seats. Well, he mostly sits at different seats. I stay white, but we're always on the same team.
Yeah,
Always.
I don't know how that is.
Nope.
I've never been on your team.
Have you not?
I don't think so.
That's wild.
I mean, that's how I plan it. But
You stack the deck so we're not together.
we have come to the end of our list of questions in this Excel sheet. But we are also live right now. So do we have any live questions, or have you been adding them this whole time, Sam? Sam's been adding them this whole time. That's why I keep scrolling down. I'm like, I swear we were closer to the end than this.
The Discord and YouTube chat are saying that there is one game similar to Veiled Fate that we have not mentioned.
Great.
You want to hear what it is?
Hit me.
Clue.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Can you move any player in Clue? It's been a long time since I
Wow,
played
it's been
Clue,
a while
y'all.
since I played Clue. Are you?
You're not playing as.
You're not the murderer.
You're just trying to
though.
figure out
Who the
murderer
murderer
is.
is.
It has some similarities. I would not go and be like, oh, I'm not going to play Veiled Fate because it's like Clue. It's not. But I get what they're saying. Good
Yeah.
job, Jacob. We're all
I like
proud of
that.
you.
Aren't they making a Clue movie?
Jacob Porter said, it's more like Clue, but good.
Clue but good. That's our new. We're gonna put that on the box.
Please don't put that on the
I'm
box.
not gonna put that on the box.
Oh, no.
There's nothing wrong with Clue. I've been Cluing forever.
Brad, the lore behind the demis does not currently affect how you play the game. So this is a question coming from the chat. Does the lore behind the demis affect how those demis play in the game? Do the suits play out the themes of the demi more so than the demis themselves? The suits. Can you clarify that, Brad? I don't know what you mean by suits. Currently, the lore behind the demis does not affect how they play. Basically, every demi is an equal playing field at the beginning of the game. They all start in the city. Yeah.
Just different colors, different classes too. 3 different classes, but none is better than the other.
Yeah.
We try to equally. One of the things, obviously, we want everybody to have a fair. Like, there's no disadvantage or advantage depending upon which demi you get. You know, there are different requirements for certain demis or certain classes on different requirements, but those are equally distributed throughout all of the quest cards.
Totally.
So.
We have confirmed that you can move any character in Clue.
And those are the characters that are the murderers or potential suspects?
I don't know.
I would say we should play some Clue, but I don't really want to.
He was saying the suit being the class, so you answered that question.
Great.
Thank you, Brad.
That makes sense.
Thank you for clarifying. What is Zach drinking? Zach's drinking coffee and a Topo Chico.
Yes.
Topo Chico is fantastic if you haven't had it. It's basically mineral water, or not mineral water.
This has got a twist of lime.
This has got a twist of lime in it. Look at that.
It's great. Highly recommend it. The coffee's a little cold.
Not good for coffee.
Stop.
All right, guys. Well, that is the end of our Q&A session. If you have more questions, the best place to have them answered almost instantly is the Discord. Because
we're also very active on Twitter. And
sure,
and
but we
Instagram.
want them to join the
Instagram
Discord.
Mostly, yes. Facebook, you can ask us questions over there.
Yeah, but we're not as fast.
You can text Austin. His
Do
number
not
is
do that.
615-443-1234. I don't know his phone number.
I don't know yours either. I just press call. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Oh, sorry, one more question. Any chance of merch? I love the art direction so much, I want to wear it. I mean, that's come up a couple of times now, so I think we're doing it. Sam is shaking his head yes, and Sam makes the decisions in this room. So, sorry, Zach does too. But yes. It sounds like there might be merch coming in the next couple of months, so we will keep you updated on that. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. We'll be back with more live content. I'm gonna make Zach play Azul soon, so that'll be fun. And then we do IV Games Weekly live next Friday. So next Friday at 2, I believe. But we'll put out some info on that.
Great. Yeah. Let us know what you think of
this
live things too.
Yeah.
It seems fun. I'm having fun.
I enjoy it. I like it more live. It's better. Yeah. All right. See you guys.